Hey guys, I believe we are live. And the second we go live, Stein from Norway hops in. I'm just checking to make sure this is public on Facebook, Book of Faces, and there we go. Welcome to Massive Iron Live, guys. We'll wait a little bit for YouTube to notify everybody. We're still at 0, I believe. YouTube might not like us today, Robert. We might be talking to ourselves. It appears to be live. Let me just double check. If it's live on. It's live on Facebook. It's got to be live on. It's got to be live on YouTube. So, welcome to the Massive Iron channel, Massive Iron Live. We do this every Friday at 11 Eastern. Welcome all your questions: diet, training, supplementation, nutrition, off topic. We welcome off topic, movie talk, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Christmas talk. Tell us what you're getting for Christmas. If you're getting anything good for Christmas, tell us where you're from. If the gyms are open, I'd love to hear if you guys are getting any lifting stuff for Christmas. So let us know. If we don't see your questions, sometimes YouTube doesn't allow them through the gateway for whatever reason. So continue to post them. And if we miss your questions altogether, or you tune in late, feel free to hit us up on Instagram at Ben the Barman or at the Supplement Engineer with your questions. So before we get started, the question always is, who is this guy?
My name is Robert Chinesky, the big-eyed nerdy guy of the duo with big hairy ugly dude Steve Shaw. I'm a former mechanical engineer, writer, ingredient researcher, consultant for sports nutrition companies, and yeah, all nerdy about all things hypertrophy and supplement science.
So I'm getting an incline bench for Christmas. Santa's bringing me an incline bench, and it was hard to find a good one. The company that I usually go through didn't have anything in stock, or the two companies didn't have anything in stock. So I'm waiting for that to show up. Robert, are you getting anything from Santa lifting related?
Yes. So you know that little sissy squat setup you got, Steve? That little sissy squat machine or apparatus?
Right. Yep.
We have one of those. My parents got me that for Christmas, and so that's sitting in a box over there. I've been eagerly waiting to crack it open. It's been here for 2 weeks now, and I'm being a good boy and not opening it for another week. Although I did crack open one early Christmas present from them, which is this nice little mechanical keyboard right here. It's old school. So if anybody that works on a laptop knows that the switches that are underneath the laptop keys are very, very squirrely, and especially the ones that are on the MacBooks. And so they use a butterfly switch. And what happens with those is that eventually they just start falling off. So for the better part of 6 months, I had like the Wheel of Fortune letters on my laptop were just crapped out. So the RSTLNE just kept falling off all the time, which made typing a real pain in the ass. Yeah. So I sent my laptop off to Apple to get it replaced because they were replacing it for free. But I also got, in the interim, this little mechanical keyboard, which sounds like the old school keys. So if you do something like, I'll type now, so you can hear all that. And it makes me feel more productive to hear those loud.
So that's for your laptop, is that correct?
Yeah, it hooks up through a USB, but it's also got a Bluetooth connection too, and it's dual. It works with Windows and Macs.
When we're done, send me the link to that. I hate writing on a laptop because of the keyboard. Yep. I just do. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah. And it's a really affordable one too. Apparently, there's like this whole. I didn't realize there was like this explosion of mechanical keyboards, like Bluetooth mechanical keyboards that exploded within the past year. So this is a really affordable one, and I like it a lot.
So if you guys tuning in, let us know what Santa is giving you for Christmas. I'm getting an incline bench. Robert is getting this. It's the Leica Fitness Deluxe Multifunction Deep Sissy Squat. I have one of these, and I recommended it, I don't know, months back, and I use it. I love using it. After I do my normal workout, like my back or my chest or my shoulders, I do 3 sets of these every single day, along with maybe some other leg work. And you can definitely feel it. It's a quality piece of equipment. It's going to last unless I beat the living crap out of it. So I believe I have this over on my website, superlivingtoday.com, just for reference if anybody wants to find it. All right, let's see what we got. Tell us what you're getting for Christmas, you bunch of weirdos, you bunch of lunatics. Tell us what you're getting for Christmas. All right, what do we got here? We got Stein. Hello from Norway. What's going on, Stein? And we got the Larsons. What is going on? Been a while since I've seen you guys. Bill Leach, gym's still open in the free state of Arizona. You know, it seems like, I don't know what you guys feel like, but it seems like more and more they're starting to let gyms stay open, but they're still putting this squeeze on like bars and restaurants around the country. So very interesting dynamic. Bill Leach, I got a pair of 45-pound plates for Christmas. That's good. That's a good gift from Santa. Those are hard to find. I got a client right now trying to stock up a home gym that struggled to find those for a reasonable cost. Nigel Helmer, love the old mechanical keyboard sound. Jimmy Cooksworth, Merry Christmas, Shaws and Shinetskis. You know what, Jimmy? You got Robert's last name correct.
Hot damn, I am super impressed.
I mess that up every other time. Jimmy, I'm going to tell you what, I've been giving away flags, and I'm going to give you a massive iron flag if you want it. Email me, benthebarman@gmail.com, or message me on Instagram @benthebarman. Send me your address, phone number, all that good stuff. I'll send you a massive iron flag if you want it. If not, well done on getting Robert's name right. Whoops, I skipped a question here. Let me go. How much is a Robert bench?
How much is a Robert bench? That's a good question. I'm not sure what a Robert bench is. I mean,
are you asking how much does Robert bench, or how much?
Or what? I mean, I have an incline bench here at the house that I paid, I don't know how much for, a long time ago. I got it 8 or 9 years ago. It's the Power Sport bench, the one that Power Block makes. Let me look it up and see.
You know, I got to tell you, I have a little bench in my home gym. And at one point, it was part of Amazon Essentials.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's just one of those benches that you can move around your gym. I got it for like $79 or $89.
Yeah,
and
I got the Power Block Sport bench. Of course, it's out of stock right now, but when I got it, I want to say it was, like $180 or $200, something like that.
All right, what do we got? Stan from Norway. I really love you guys. Love you too. Cheers. Hope you're drinking something good. It is that time of year. We got 13 days left in 2020. Yep. So if you're going to drink heavy and bloat, now's the time to do so. Slim says Santa won't tell me. That's pretty good. I'm getting really bad. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting really bad at the older I get, not telling my wife what I got her for Christmas, because it arrives. I got the boxes right over here, just stacked up, of her Christmas presents. I need to pay somebody to wrap them, because I'm one of those guys that when I wrap a present, it looks like it was wrapped by, I don't know, a 6-month-old baby. So I don't know if you're more proficient than I am, Robert, but I'm not big into the wrapping.
Yeah, I've gotten pretty good with it, because my mom and dad always wrapped our gifts, like most people's parents. And my dad is a stickler for stuff. It was the Shinetsky way. He's like, the way we were raised there's two ways to do things. The wrong way or the Shinetsky way. That's just kind of was ingrained into us it's the Shinetsky way, and the way everybody else does things is kind of the way like my dad and my grandpa taught him to do stuff. So, if I was cutting the grass and there was like one little spot where you dropped the mower, like it dropped off and I kind of shaved the grass too close, he would come outside and look at me and say, that doesn't happen next week, Robert. Fix that for next week. You're better than that, or something like that. So
I can tell just by that specific example that happened once, and the memory will never leave your brain, even when you're 90 with Alzheimer's.
Exactly. And so wrapping presents is much the same. It's very articulate when I speak. You don't drop your R's, don't drop your T's. You enunciate everything properly and do all that stuff. So there was they reared us properly in the Shinetsky household. So my gift wrapping skills are pretty on point.
And I got to tell you, Robert, I come from in Wisconsin. There's a lot of names that start with SCH, Schmitz and Schneitskys and Schnutzels and, all this stuff. But I've never run into a Shinetsky, and most of them, that would fit perfect in Wisconsin. But most of the Wisconsin names you can pronounce, or you can spell rather easily, but yours gives me fits. It's like the way I type it. It's just not natural. It never comes out right.
We are the trivia bit for people. We are the only Shinetskys Like my direct family is the only ones that are in the country. So my great grandpa, Anton, and so all of us, all the males in my family have the same middle name of Anton, Anton, because he was the one that first came over from Poland, landed up in New York, and then migrated down to New Orleans and all of that stuff. So anybody that has the Shanetsky name is a direct shoot off of like, so it's my great grandpa, then my grandpa. His younger brother died really early, and so he had 2 sons, and then my dad had 3 kids, and then that's where it is right now.
That's crazy. So you guys watching, post up a question. We'll be on for about 2 hours. Doesn't matter. Just post it up. If you're new, post up anything random. We don't care. You know, every time I see your name, I want to pronounce it wrong, but I'm going to slow down for once and pronounce it Mad Evils. I think that's the way it's supposed to be pronounced, but I don't know why. I always want to pronounce it Maidvilles. Thoughts on training with chains? Do you or have you used it? Have you included it in your program? I had chains in the old dungeon gym. When I was at my strongest, I used chains on pretty much most of my sets. I really went through a period of time where I was working my lockouts hard on my bench, and even my deadlift. I could pretty much get anything off the floor, but locking it out. I like the extra weight at lockout on all those lifts. I think they have a lot of value once you built a strength base. I like them better than bands, and I've tried both. But bands feel like wobbly and more unstable to me for whatever reason. And chains just feel more natural to me. They feel more natural. I always, you know, I just never liked working with bands. I've done reverse bands on squats, you know, trying to work those. I'd rather have chains on the bar. So I think once you reach an intermediate level of strength, you know, you can do 225 for multiple sets of 10 on bench, and, you know, 315 for multiple sets of 10 on squat, or around those ranges. If you want to get some chains in your home gym or start messing around with chains, by all means do so. I really think, I think there's value. Like, we do squat, bench, and deadlift over and over and over again for a long time. Mm-hmm. And just being able to work on the lockout a little bit more, I feel there's benefit to it. You don't have to do them exclusively. You could do them every other week or whatever, but I feel there's benefit. Robert, do you use chains other than in the bedroom?
No, we don't have any here at the house. I would like to try it. Maybe do it like put a set around the neck or something like that when you're doing dips or walking lunges or something like that. That would be really good. We need to get some here for the house.
Yeah, it reminds me of the picture that when I worked at Tiger Fitness, that we had a Mark Lobliner. He had all the chains wrapped around his neck, looking all hardcore. And then when you do that, a lot of times the chains will pinch your neck, and you got to be really, really careful that they don't pinch an important artery. You know, so
that would be bad.
I mean, seriously. But they're also usually rusty and greasy, and you know, can have some fine edges and stuff like that. So for those of you keeping score at home, you might want to do a little chain inspecting for the quality before you wrap them around your neck. What do we got? Timo Cruz. Everything's still pretty much locked down in Toronto. I saw news from that one restaurant up in that area where there was a big gathering. And I really have nothing to say at this point other than, you know, when it comes to leadership, they need to have some solutions to help keep small businesses alive. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
What do we got? Anchor. Does L-carnitine bioavailability make a difference? And I got a deadlift bar for Christmas. You know what? That's one of the best investments you can get, a deadlift bar. I love mine. It was my favorite bar. So cheers for that. Robert, L-carnitine bioavailability.
Yeah, it really depends. Bioavailability absolutely makes a difference. So if something is not bioavailable, your body cannot efficiently absorb it and therefore won't be able to utilize it and derive benefits from its use. That being said, regular L-carnitine has piss-poor bioavailability. It's been shown to be relatively ineffective in meat eaters. So unless you're a vegan, vegetarian, or really old, somebody that doesn't eat a lot of meat, you're not going to get much benefit from regular L-carnitine supplementation at all, in part because carnitine isn't really a limiting factor in your body's ability to metabolize and oxidize fatty acids in the bloodstream. And it's just got poor bioavailability. That being said, there is some studies where the bioavailability of L-carnitine was improved with the co-ingestion of 80 grams of carbohydrates. Then again, the whole purpose of taking L-carnitine is to maximize fat burning in the body. So if you're ingesting 80 grams of carbohydrates along with something that's supposed to upregulate fat metabolism, you're still going to end up burning those carbohydrates because that's the body's preferred source of fuel. In addition, I'm not really a big believer in regular L-carnitine. All those L-carnitine 1500 and 3000 like liquid cap formulas, those are all just a cash grab from the supplement companies. They're super cheap to produce. It's just flavored liquid. Don't waste your money on it. There's not going to be any fat burning benefit from it. That being said, there are two forms of L-carnitine I do like. The first is acetyl L-carnitine, Alcar. 1 to 2 grams of that has been shown to be a pretty potent antioxidant in the brain, assists with energy metabolism in the brain, and has a bunch of cognitive benefits in terms of mood, memory, learning, and focus. So I like that in either a pre-workout setting or a nootropic. And then the other one is L-carnitine L-tartrate, which has been shown to reduce markers of muscle damage following eccentric exercise and improve recovery following training as well. So I like those two, and it upregulates androgen receptor density, which benefits anabolic hormones in the body like testosterone. So Alcar or LCLT, 1 to 2 grams of that. Regular L-carnitine, leave it in the trash can.
So, Robert, was it L-carnitine that they used to put in liquid format? I remember, I never took it, but I remember floating around the Tiger Fitness warehouse. There was some amino acid in liquid format.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That the L-carnitine 1500 and 3000, that means 1500 milligrams or 3000 milligrams, and it's a little shock cap. I've got a bottle here that some supplement company sent me, and it's just it's a flavored liquid. It does nothing.
That's what I thought. I thought it was L-carnitine for some reason. Now, before we go forward, guys, I want to hear what you guys think. First off, Robert, I'm back on the creatine train, and I posted this on social media. It's 6-star, and people were asking me if the quality was okay. I mean, 6-star, aren't they owned by a bigger company, Muscle Tech?
They're owned, 6-star is kind of like the Walmart brand of Muscle Tech.
So it's creatine. You see it at Walmart. I got this at Kroger. This is about all you need. I just did a convenience buy. Before we move on, you guys have any supplement questions, post them up. Robert is an expert if ever there was one on supplements. And we're starting to put together master classes. We just put together a master class on creatine. If you want to check that out, it's over at my website above my head. There's a menu that says master class. We just put together an awesome master class on let me just pull it up here. We put together an awesome masterclass on muscle building nutrition. It is 1 hour and 25 minutes. If you want to know everything about muscle building nutrition, head over to the website and check that out. But I'd like to hear if you guys have would like any master classes on any specific topics. So drop them down below. We did one on creatine. So if you want to know everything in the world about creatine, check that out. All right, what do we got here? I'm getting an aftershave gift set, Old Spice. If my grandpa didn't wear it, I wouldn't be here. That's a good point. My dad used to have this stuff called Kung Fu or High Karate.
I remember seeing that commercial way back. Like there was this thing where they showed us in health class or something. It was like advertising stuff, and it was an old school Kung Fu commercial with the aftershave or whatever it was. I love that commercial. It's awesome.
Yeah, High Karate aftershave. I got some right here, boys and girls. I got some right here. My dad used to have that in the cabinet, and I thought that was the coolest thing on planet Earth. I really did. There you go, High Karate aftershave. I don't know if that's the new version or the old version, but it is what it is. I was actually looking at the old style shaving blades. What do they call those things? The ones that are on the flip.
Yeah, I have no idea.
My wife knows what they are. She was looking at those for me, so I actually might get one of those just to shave this crap, because this thing grows down here, and up here I get the hairs right here. Like if I don't shave that every day, they're like 3 inches long. People think I'm kidding. This is like about 2 days worth of not shaving. Beef Lewis from Montreal or Montana. Montreal. What am I thinking? Montana. I crept on Rob's channel and saw Sandy. Wasn't expecting her to be a 10 yet. With how ugly Robert is and with how ugly I am, no one expects our wives to be. But you know what? That's the sign. That's the sign of an intelligent man. Eventually, they'll snare something way above their league, and the woman won't know it for decades.
And a well-endowed man. There you go. Intelligent and well-endowed. That's the key to getting every woman.
Yep. All right.
No, she is awesome. She is a rock star. She's I've always thought she's the better looking of the two of us. She debates that, but no, she's a rock star. She is awesome. And she's looked the same since she was about 14 was when I first met her too.
Same with my wife. People ask me all the time, like, why do you look so different, like over the last 6 years? I'm like, I'm 53. And like, but they're like, your face is always red and puffy. Well, I run 10 hours in the cold every week. I mean, I don't know what you expect. Jonathan Paisley, JM press or close grip bench joints. That's a lot of people don't know what the JM press is. Yeah. So I want to see if I can get a little something on here. There we go. I think that is it. Maybe a video would be helpful. What do you say? What do you say, guys? Maybe a video would be helpful. Let's find a decent video, and we'll make sure we turn down the. What do we got on here now? Here's our ad now streaming. Let's skip the ad. Let's see what we got for the JM press. We'll do a little education. I'm not sure who these knuckleheads are, but it's kind of you take more of a close grip bench press style, and you're bringing the bar down more to your forehead. I believe that's how it's performed. It's a good tricep exercise for those of you that are working at home. The question of JM press or close grip bench, both. I would do both. I honestly would. I would rotate them every other week. That's probably your best bet. Robert, joint supplements worth it? Before Robert answers, Robert once recommended a Joint XT for us, and my wife used it religiously, and she could tell a difference in her knee health during excessive periods of running. So, and she hated it when we ran out. So, Robert, are joint supplements worth it?
Yeah, depending on the quality and the ingredients included, yes, certain joint supplements are definitely worth it. The one that I used to recommend to Steve was Joint Support XT by SNS, but that has been out of stock for more than 6 months. I've contacted the company several times through different forums and been told it's supposed to be released and never heard anything else. So I'm currently developing one that takes some of the ingredients from Joint Support XT and adds in a bunch of other ones for Apollon Nutrition right now. We got our first batch of flavor samples a week and a half ago. Sandy and I did a live taste test. It was god-awful. One of the ingredients in there, Paractin, which is a standardized patented blend of an extract of Andrographis paniculata. It's got some powerful anti-inflammatory benefits. Tastes really awful. It's super astringent. I mean, it blows your mouth out and leaves it tasting. Go look at the live Q&A from 2 weeks ago on my channel if you want to see just how horrendous this stuff tastes. So we're going back to the drawing board with the flavoring house and trying to figure out some other things. Just off the top of my head, some things that you may want to check out as far as joint support goes. UC2, which is undenatured type 2 collagen, chicken collagen. You can look at hydrolyzed collagen peptides. You can do the Paractin or the Andrographis paniculata if you can find that extract on Amazon. You can find that. There's a couple of other ones. Natural eggshell membrane, NEM, that I definitely know that's on Amazon because I just gave that to my dad along with UC2 collagen and one or two other things for him. He's had some really achy shoulders and knees as of late. I mean, he's, 63 now? So yeah, he's getting up there in age and doesn't have the best joints in the world. So those three are definitely good. You can also look at curcumin or turmeric, and you want to make sure that's got some kind of bioavailability enhancer with it, something like a bioperin or an estrogen in there. You want to take that as well as Cissus quadrangularis. Cissus XT is a brand name that I've used, or Anova Farm Super Cissus. Both of those are all good. So yeah.
All right, Robert. Yeah, Joint XT. I mean, we liked it so well that we would hunt. I mean, I was literally hunting these guys down on social media, email, like, when's it in stock? When's it in stock? And it was just never in stock. I don't know why. I don't know if they dropped the ball or what, their company, but just really disappointing. For anybody that is looking at joint supplements, are they worth it? Yeah, you probably don't want to buy the cheap stuff from Walmart though. Hit up Robert. And you guys, for those of you unfamiliar, Robert and I have something called the Massive Iron Insider, and you head over to the website. There's an Insider tab. It's like micro training. We have articles that are members only. We have our master classes are free with that. We have a forum and an app that are members only. You can go on there and ask Robert questions on anything at any time. So for the cost, you get a huge amount of value. You get all my books on PDF for free. So check that out. It's the Insider tab. The reason why I want to bring that up is because a lot of people over there on the forum, Robert, post up questions for you, and Robert is really good at answering them. So if you guys want more information and you want one of the best supplement guys in the world at your disposal, come check out that service. All right, Flesh Feast. And if it seems like we're doing commercials, we are, because this is how we pay the bills, and we appreciate your guys' support sincerely. Flesh Feast, excuse me. Currently overhead press 95 by 10, bench 135 by 10, squat 155 by 10, and deadlift 335 by 5. Those look like pretty good late beginner numbers, somewhere around that range. So you're on the right track. I would set the goal to get your overhead press 135 by 10, your bench 185 by 10, squat 225 by 10, and deadlift, just keep gripping and ripping because you're doing pretty good. And once you get there, you're probably in those, that nice intermediate range. And then from there, the early intermediate range. And then from there, a lot of the big juicy muscle is built. So just keep it up. Matthew Smith, gyms are still open in Kansas. I haven't heard a lot of chatter from Kansas during this whole COVID thing. So that's actually the first comment I believe I've heard. Just a reminder, guys, we'll be on for 2 hours. You can post questions on anything, diet, training, supplement, nutrition, off-topic, wacky questions, just rant, rave, stupid stuff you've seen on the internet. We don't really care. We're just having fun, and it's Friday, so post it on up. What's the difference between a deadlift bar and a standard Olympic bar? Well, the main difference is a deadlift bar has a little bit more bend to it, which will help you generate a little bit more speed off the floor. And not a lot, but a little. But it just feels a little bit better. Like when you pull, the bar has just a little bit of give, and it's easier on the lower back. And I believe the handle is a little bit has a little bit shorter diameter, so it's just easier to grab. And the knurling is a bit more aggressive from what I remember. So I found deadlift bars aren't super expensive, but man, they are fun. Just don't use them for rack pulls. You don't want to be beating the crap out of that thing. What do we got? What's your biggest pet peeve in the gym? And he goes on to say, pulled 350 by 3. The trainer came to me and said, control the drop. It's a little loud. Listen, pal, it's a deadlift. Gravity is going to pull 350 pounds down to the ground, and it's not going to be pretty. So tuck your little pearly white testicles back into your man trousers and shut the fuck up. What's your biggest pet peeve in the gym? I wasn't saying that to you. I was saying that to the trainer. Robert, what's your biggest pet peeve in the gym?
Shitty music. It's just that I typically don't bring headphones with me when I was going to a gym or anything, but I mean, shit, I hate when they've got like whatever is the top 20, the top 40, the teeny bopper bullshit music, or like the electronic music. I just put on like classic rock or something. When you've got like Smooth Operator going on and all this other bullshit, I don't need to hear pop music. I don't need to hear teeny bopper bullshit. Put on some actual decent music.
Yeah, I got a few pet peeves. you know, we used to train at LA Fitness on and off before COVID hit. We canceled our membership because obviously we can't use it. We're not going to go through the hoops to use it. But you know, the people that would be the biggest thing for me is the people that would load up like the chest press machine or the shoulder press machine or the leg press or some machine that usually required a couple plates and just leave that shit on there. Like while you're watching them, like you know, I usually bench and do dips and push-ups and dumbbell bench. And I got like 3 or 4 compound movements or body weight movements out of the way. And I usually, instead of going over to pec deck or whatever, I usually do a machine, right? Because I'd rather do a machine chest press than the pec deck. I feel all, you know, like, come on. You know, who wants to do a pec deck? I hate flies, cabled crossovers. I do that stuff occasionally. But, you know, when you're eyeballing the chest press and dipshit McGillicuddy's over there with 3 plates, you know, bouncing them all around, and the dipshit leaves them on, and then my wife goes over there to work in a set. I just want to punch him in his fucking groin. I mean, that's a real pet peeve. And me, you know, when it comes to people, I'll go tell them, dude, go take your plates off. I'm 53. My fuck bag is empty. If some dude wants to come back all aggressive and, you know, go ahead, punch me. I don't give a fuck, but still, you're going to have to take your plates off the fucking machine. I don't care. But that's a big pet peeve. And I don't know, you know, like, Robert, once you've trained around a bunch of the biggest, strongest people in the world, and you see their humility and their modesty and their patience with people and their ability to train others, and then you go into the gym and you see some Joe Gorilla walking around like, I just, you know, military press 135 by 10 and I'm the biggest shit in the gym. Like, move over, pal. Let me show you a few things. You know, you can see those guys in the gym. They walk around like they own it. Occasionally, it has been said, rumor has it, that occasionally when one of these dipshits is doing like 335 on deadlifts for 5 and looking like fucking King Kong, occasionally, rumor has it, I'll walk over and single arm deadlift that just once, just to fucking put them in their place. I've done that. I've literally one time, even in the Tiger Fitness gym, I walked in one weekend and there was a bunch of dipshits having a monkey boy party, and they were doing like all trying to deadlift 600 and just destroying the bar, right? I walked over there cold and single arm deadlifted 605 and then just walked out of the gym. I mean, sometimes that's just the way I handle my shit. I don't know. Call me petty, whatever. All right. What do we got? Have you seen those axle bars that can make yourself you can make for yourself $40 to $50? I bought a cheap bar from Cap and it bent, so I'm going to try this out. No, I have not. Well, wait, I saw something on Amazon this weekend that you fasten together. I don't know if it was one of those. But yeah, the cheap bars, I've bent more than a few of those in my day. Robert, have you ever heard of any of these things? Axle bars.
The other thing I think of is like a car axle or something like they would use in World's Strongest Man.
I don't know. I'm trying to see here. I don't know. Well, maybe if anybody has more information on that, post it up. Now that you all know I'm petty. Steel Toes, 83, just finished squats and about to do some weighted chin-ups. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, and have fun with those weighted chin-ups. Hope you finish the year strong. Wade, thoughts on supplements that claim to lower cortisol and to build muscle? Before you answer that, Robert, there is a huge amount of fear when it comes to cortisol. Like somehow cortisol is going to come in like Santa Claus, steal, like the Grinch, steal all your presents at night and leave you with just a lump of coal and a crumb on the plate. What's the deal with cortisol, and is there any benefit to the supplementation?
I mean, there's a lot of fear mongering around cortisol. You know, a lot of it is from supplement companies, like you mentioned, Steve, that cortisol is this boogeyman that's going to come in and rob your gains of the middle of the night. Also, you know, on T Nation, there's a lot of articles about how horrible cortisol is and all of this stuff. And, you know, let's understand that cortisol has been, made to be the boogeyman, kind of like insulin has been from like the paleo and keto community. And it's not an either or situation. It's not like it's cortisol is all bad. You need cortisol. It exists for a reason. We had it way back when because it stimulated the stress response to get us to be able to start getting energy substrates into the bloodstream so we could run the fuck away from a cheetah that was trying to eat our faces off. These days, cortisol is released in a manner while we're resistance training or doing anything super strenuous. Cortisol is released because it gets blood glucose into the thing. It starts breaking down tissues to get it breaks down glycogen to get blood sugar levels up so you can perform better in your thing. And it actually helps you if you've ever been stressed out and you're trying to meet a deadline. That's a boost of cortisol and adrenaline kicking into your system that's helping you to focus and be more alert and be more motivated. Where cortisol goes bad and where it becomes a problem is when it's chronic underlying stress, where you are chronically stressed about relationships, about finances, about the stupid fucking pandemic and lockdowns, about all this stuff. When you are seriously stressed and you can't sleep all the time, when you're having that kind of underlying stress, that is where stress goes bad. So if you're somebody that is always freaking out about every little thing and you're a super high stress, super anxious individual, in that instance, something like a KSM-66 or a rhodiola or some other adaptogen like a Bacopa monnieri, those kind of things that are anti-cortisol and help improve the body's response to stressful situations and modulate and improve the body's stress response and improve your ability to recover from experiences or stressors. That may help indirectly to build muscle because the higher cortisol levels are, the lower testosterone levels are going to be, the worse energy metabolism is going to be. Your body's going to be in a more pro-catabolic state. So it's going to be more inclined to break down muscle tissue. It will store more fat because it's in a chronically stressed state. Now, this is not the same thing as an acute stressor that you would get from regular exercise. So if you're living a normal, healthy life and you're not stressed all that often, obviously, somebody cuts you off in traffic, you're going to get stressed. But as long as, you let that, fall, brush that off your shoulder within the next 5-10 minutes after it happens, you're going to be fine. So anti-cortisol supplements may be a small, moderate, modest indirect muscle builder, but it's not a very anabolic kind of compound at all. So, I mean, if you're stressed and you have trouble going to sleep at night because you got a lot weighing on your mind, sure, take some theanine, some KSM-66, some rhodiola or ashwagandha. Try any of those, but I wouldn't really necessarily consider them a muscle builder by any way.
Thanks, Robert. And, to go back to the little deadlift thing I was talking about, I just want to say for those of you that are keeping score at home or new to the channel, when I go on these rambles, they're just for humor to entertain myself. It's not all that serious, and I'm not all that angry. It's mostly just entertainment. So just want to stress that. Hey, Robert, before we move on, I was poking around, and I saw over at the old Muscle and Strength, and, I realized today when I looked at my Facebook memories that I left South Carolina 6 years ago today. I left muscleandstrength.com 6 years ago today. So I decided to check their website today just to see what they're featuring. And they have a dumbbell only home or gym full body workout right on their front page. And if you click here, for those of you keeping score at home, the author's name, Stephen Shaw, somebody you might know. So those of you unaware, if you want a lot of good content, I was the content editor, editorial director over at Muscle and Strength, and I literally have I got them all scrolling to infinity. I have about 8 billion articles over there, some fun, some not fun, the pump, legit muscle builder or not, 35 best biceps in history, just all kinds of, stuff like that. So, Robert, you didn't start working with me until Tiger Fitness, right? You never wrote for Muscle and Strength.
No, it was 2016, September or October of 2016 is when I first reached out to you, and we kind of crossed paths and started working then.
Yeah, Robert's, one of the writers. I started working with Robert. I've worked with a lot of really good writers over the years. Brad Borland and, you name it. We had tons of good writers come through, and eventually, they all got let go at one company or the other for financial reasons, the ups and downs of the supplement industry. But there's between Tiger Fitness and Muscle and Strength, there's a lot of really good content that I took a lot of pride in getting up on the internet. And when you go to either of those sites, 90% of the content up there is my baby. Just remember that. Let's see. We got that. We got that. Anthony Chato, is 5x5 the same as 3x8? Well, we're trying to kind of boil down the mathematics to make it similar. Basically, if you're going to look at, the weight you're using, it's going to be similar. 5x5, you're going to have basically the last couple of reps in those sets a little bit harder. The last two sets a little bit harder. Pretty much the same for 3x8. So you end up squeezing out, I don't know, more or less the same amount of quality reps. Don't overthink this stuff is all I can say. There's no magic rep ranges, 5x5, 3x8, whatever. The key isn't really the rep range. You have a reasonable rep range, okay? You have a reasonable set and rep scheme. The magic is going to be pushing that for progression. So don't overthink it. As long as a set and rep scheme is reasonable. If you had 1x5, or if, on the other hand, you had like 12x8, then I'd be concerned. But you're right in the wheelhouse. So, Robert, anything to add when it comes to hypertrophy and rep ranges?
No, I just use I fit the rep range to the exercise. Some exercises are going to be better for 5x5. Some are going to be better by 3x8. Some are going to be better by 3x15 and 20. It's all kind of exercise and individual dependent. Some people just don't have the joints to deal with 5x5. Some do. It depends on the individual and the exercise.
Yeah, I mean, people have taken me the wrong way a lot of times over the years when I bust the balls of 5x5 workouts. But I hate arbitrary set and rep schemes. I hate trying to place a cookie cutter and put it on everything. That's not how lifting is. You can't simply place a 5x5 on barbell rows and overhead presses and bench presses and squats and deadlifts and say, okay, we're all happy now. Because when you are actually teaching people, coaching people in the pits, you have different time constraints, injury issues. Some people don't like doing more than 3 sets per body part. And you can say, oh, they're just pussies or whatever. But there's so many variables, to training. And a huge variable is happiness. So, I do not like arbitrary math. I'm a math guy. And I know Robert is a math guy as well. And arbitrary progression schemes and math formulas and stuff like that bother me. I don't know if they bother you as much as me, Robert.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
And you know what? I'm going to trigger somebody here, but linear progression. How sustainable is it adding arbitrary 5 to 10 pounds to a lift per week? Somebody's going to say they did it till they got a 335 squat, and you're like the Yeti. You're like the rare beast. But no one can do that week in and week out. It's such a silly, arbitrary progression standard. Straight razor. Yep, straight razor. You guys nailed it. I want to go a little bit old school and get a straight razor, but I want to do some research and get something that is actually good. That, like with my hair, when I take a regular razor through it, I have to go through like 3 of those disposable razors just to get everything off. They go dull so quickly. Stein, I'm 174 centimeters. What is that on inches? Anybody? Centimeters to inches. What do we got?
68 inches, so 5 feet 8, 5'8".
5'8.5". And let's see, kilograms. Sorry, guys. I want to make sure we got this right. I deal with this every day with my clients, but I still have to do the calculation. About 167.5. All right. So reasonable height and weight. Eating 3,500 calories and slowly gaining weight. Is it okay to gain some more? If you're training hard, you want to gain about a pound a month-ish. And Robert and I dove into this in our masterclass, muscle building nutrition. But eating more aggressive than that, the most I would ever advocate is a pound and a half a month. Beyond that, you're just on a fat gain plan. And, eating more than that is not going to necessarily give you more muscle mass. There's a tipping point where it just becomes a fat gain plan. Robert, would you like to speak on that for a second? That's something we talked about yesterday. There is definitely a tipping point where a bulk becomes simply a fat gain program.
Yeah, like you said, Steve. And I guess part of the thing would be, Stein, how long have you been training? How much of your natural mass have you accumulated already? Because the earlier you are in your training career and the less of muscle mass you've built, the more aggressive you can probably be with your bulking. But the more advanced, because you've got a higher window, a larger gap in order to build more muscle. So you can be more aggressive with your calorie surplus and all of that stuff, because you still have a large percentage of your natural gains that you can make. As you become more experienced, as you gain more muscle and you get closer to your natural potential, you're going to have to slow down, because the body can only synthesize a finite amount of protein over any given interval. So because of that, you're going to want to limit the aggressiveness of your bulk to where, before, if you're using like a 20% surplus, you might want to go down to maybe a 10 to 12% surplus, just so that you're maintaining a normal, a more optimal mass gaining ratio of muscle to fat. So yeah, if you're in the 15 to 20% range, how do you look and feel when you look in the mirror and you see your physique? Are you getting winded when you're going up a flight of stairs or something? If you are, then it's probably time to end the bulk. But if you're at 15%, it's still you got the green light to go. If you get much above 20% body fat, and obviously all of the body composition measurements that we have, even like things like the bod pod, the DEXA, those bioelectrical impedance devices, the little things that you hold with your hands, all of those have shortcomings and have various margins of error. And so use a little bit of common sense. Use a little bit of touch and feel. How do you feel? Are you getting winded very easily? Things like that. Are you having trouble breathing? If those signs are starting to creep up, then it's time to end the bulk. But if not, and you're still comfortable with the way you look and your performance is good and you just feel upbeat and alert, then yeah, you got the green light to keep bulking.
Well, thanks, Robert. So we got a question from Evernew23. Do you think it's possible to get stronger at your big threes in your mid to late 30s? Yes. And in fact, I would say you're just starting your prime years. I would say from 35 to 48 are your prime strength building years. There are certainly some guys that we see on the internet that are super strong in their early 20s, but for most of us, you're going to build a good amount of your strength, later. This is open powerlifting, min 40 to 49, tested federations, so they're natty. Or 99.9% natty. And here you have the total over here. And this is in kilos. And you have a lot of guys close to a 2,000 pound total. But if you scroll down here, most lifters are after, Robert, what is 1,000 pounds in kilos? Like 440?
I'll look it up real quick.
Okay. If somebody could shoot that off for me.
454.5 kilos is 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, of course it would be. Okay, so I'm trying to scroll down, Robert. This is just open powerlifting watch. I'm going to get carpal tunnel. Like the average person watching this would be happy with a 1,200 pound total. That'd be a 300 bench, 400 squat, 500 deadlift. In competition.
Yeah.
I'm getting carpal tunnel, Robert. I'm getting carpal tunnel. We're like a fourth of the way down, and we're still going on totals. Good grief, I'm going to have to go to plan B here. Hang with us, guys. I'm going to make a point. All right, so there's like 6,000 lifters in the open powerlifting rank that have are tested, that are over 40, that have a total of 1,000 or more, which is a good start. And there's like at least 5,500 that are above a 1,200 pound total. That's huge. These are just natural tested. You can absolutely do it. There's an army of individuals. If you think about it, 5,000 individuals, and these are worldwide records. They're not just American standards, but there's hundreds of guys doing it in your state. So absolutely. And I've trained many guys like this myself. I would say it's actually easier because the mature individual has a little bit more discipline. They've been through a few things in their life. They're a little bit more mentally tough. So absolutely. If you want help, I do coaching. And the coaching I do has an off-season period and a peaking period, and I'd love to help. So anybody that's interested, please reach out. Dave, Double Edge Razor. All right, what do we got here? Beef Lewis. Just goofing, Robert. My shoulder cracks, grinds, and pops. Feels like there's broken glass in it after workouts, not during. Ever experienced something like this? I've had a pop in my knee forever. Actually, I just moved my legs forward and both of them popped. That's pretty normal. That's nothing to really fear in general. Cracking and grinding. If you feel like you got broken glass in it, might want to get that one checked out. Robert, you have any idea what we're dealing with?
No, I mean, there could be some structural damage or degradation there. I would definitely go see a physical therapist or, an osteopath or something like that. I mean, it could be something as simple as like calcium deposits or something like that going on there. Cause like my left ankle, I can spin it around, like roll your ankle and stuff like that. And it pops on command. It doesn't hurt. I don't know if it's air popping or if it's like, there's little particulates of calcium that have just kind of, developed in there, but there's no pain. My shoulders get a little cricky, but there's no pain ever with it. Joints popping and making noises is relatively normal as long as there's no pain. If you start feeling like there's grinding and it's painful, that's when it's time to go get it checked out.
You could be experiencing some sort of inflammation. When you're working your muscles, you're going to get muscle pumps.
Yep.
And a degree of inflammation. Basically, you're going to make it a little bit crowded in there. And if you have calcium deposits or bone chips or whatever you got going on in there, it could be making the situation more noticeable. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on YouTube, but I would definitely get that one checked out. You don't want to mess with your shoulders. John Kortlever, a message from John, the Netherlands. I'm 48 years old. Is it better to train hard with a lot of rest days or more frequent training with whole body exercises? I find, John, that for the more mature, distinguished, sexy individual like yourself, it's generally better to either do like an A-B type of split, like upper, lower, or a full body. A little bit more recovery is generally more beneficial. I would not train more than 3 or 4 days a week. The most I would recommend for a mature male or even female is 2 days on, 1 day off. That would be after 2 days, it's time to lay down on the couch, watch some footy, as my wife would say, and relax. You want to train hard, but you have to pace yourself. Generally, I don't recommend a lot of deloading, but for the experienced lifter, sometimes 3 weeks hard, 1 week off is a good way to go, even if you are a beginner. Robert, would you have anything to add to that?
No, you wrapped up every little golden nugget possible, I was going to say, and put in a nice little bow.
So I wouldn't make every set count like I do in the rep goal system, but you do need a progression approach, and maybe one set on the big hitters every workout would be a better way to go. Flesh Feast. I was referencing MSG about strength standards during. I was referencing my message about strength standards during weight loss, but I don't see my first message anywhere. I know we answered a question about Flesh Feast. What happens sometimes, Flesh Feast, is longer messages can get cut off in this system. And as Robert knows, and I know, sometimes your account just doesn't show up. I had to go through like 8 different YouTube accounts just to get my questions to show up on Robert's live. I have no idea why, because Robert doesn't have all 8 of my accounts blocked. I haven't stepped up my trolling game to that level. So I apologize, but that's why we keep the Instagram thing open. So strength standards during weight loss. I can give you some general advice. If you are a rank beginner and haven't built a lot of strength yet, there's a good chance you're going to build some strength during weight loss. If you have built a reasonable strength base, there's a good chance you're not going to build anything during weight loss, that you'll probably lose it. So if you haven't built a strength base, there is potential to add some during the weight loss process. If you've built a reasonable amount of strength, you're pretty much, as they say in the textbook, screwed. That's just life. You got to deal with it, lose the weight, get healthy, and then go back on the attack. Rock, your Joshua. Does acetyl L-carnitine not have the inflammation as regular L-carnitine?
I think there may be a little bit miswording here, because both acetyl L-carnitine and L-carnitine have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant benefits. There was a recent meta-analysis that actually got published in August of 2019. It said that regular L-carnitine supplementation was effective for reducing various inflammatory markers, and then also the same thing with a recent 2020 study for acetyl L-carnitine showed it reduced the expressions of a bunch of different inflammatory factors, including TNF-alpha, IL-1B, INOS, which is a form of the nitric oxide synthase, inducible nitric oxide synthase, and CRP, which is C-reactive protein. So yeah, both of them can inhibit expressions of inflammatory markers in the body. I would be more inclined to go to acetyl L-carnitine because it has some neuroprotective and nootropic benefits as well, and it's just got a higher bioavailability than regular L-carnitine.
Thanks, Robert. I appreciate it. And you guys, just a reminder, if you have supplement questions, now's the time to get it in, because Robert is the man. Robert, we got an interesting one here. Masterclass in optimizing natural testosterone levels. I really, really think this is a good topic. I really think sleep as well, because sleep and testosterone levels for most of you guys watching are a big issue. Robert, I'm curious. We've never discussed this before, but I was talking with my wife, and it seems like, and I'd like to hear what you guys watching have to think, that pretty much nowadays, by the time somebody gets to the age of 35, they're pretty much downhill when it comes to health. They're pretty much past their peak. They've packed on some weight. They pretty much, at the point where they no longer feel young and vibrant. They're pretty much, just the way we eat and take care of ourselves, or don't take care of ourselves. Around the age of 35, that's when people seem to just start crashing. So I'm curious what you guys have to think. It's self-induced, but you just don't see a lot of people just continue to maintain their health into their 30s.
Nope. And I don't really know why. Maybe you'll hear a lot of people saying, blame, well, I've got a job, or I have a wife, or I have kids, and I have family. I think that's all bullshit. They'll say, I don't have time to do this, or I'm just tired from that. It all goes back to lifestyle choices and habits. So, are you going to sit around and watch 2 hours of Netflix every day, or do you want to go up and go for a walk or hit the gym? Instead of just sitting your kids in front of the TV, go outside and play with them. It's things like that. And maybe it sounds a little bit overly reductionist, or, I'm admonishing people, and that's not the goal here, but you create your own reality to a certain extent. The choices you make have a direct impact on how your health and outlook on the future and everything comes. That's my 2 cents on the matter. Just, you are going to be as old and feeble as you believe yourself to be, and set your life up to, create that reality.
No, Robert, I think you're right. A lot of people come to me and, with questions on things, and, I hear a lot of excuses, and, I'm not going to go on a rant about excuses, but those people that want it, go out and do it. Yep. If somebody asks me, what good form of cardio can I do that's great for overall health, and I tell them to go hike, go hike, you get fresh air, you get away from your phone, you have a little bit of terrain challenge, you're around nature. It's a good form of cardio, right? Yep. And you'll get excuses. I don't have the time, or there's no hiking trails close, or, or whatever. And we, it's nonsense. I get people locally that ask me, I wish I could hike like you, but I don't have time to drive all over the world to find trails. Like where I live, within a 35-minute drive, there's hundreds and hundreds of miles of spectacular hiking trails. Yeah. That's just one example. of the excuses people use. So I'm not trying to shame people for making excuses, but look, if you find yourself making excuses why you can't do something, you simply don't want it enough. You don't. That comes down to lifestyle change. Anything that's lasting in fitness or nutrition has to come down to lifestyle change. Either you want it or you don't. Just be honest with yourself. If you don't, I'm not going to shame you. Just be honest with yourself. Thanks for all your information throughout the year. You bet. And I'm doing something magical and special here in the background. And I can't wait to show everybody what I'm doing. There we go. I got it all done. It's going to be Daniel Agni has a question about Robert flexing his biceps that's coming up. And I do have a picture of that I'm about to show you guys.
Oh, God.
Have a
That
great
makes me nervous.
You too, Phil. Before I go to Benjamin Conway's questions, we'll jump to that. When will we see Robert flex his biceps? If you join the Massive Iron Insider, you will be privy to pictures like this. Right.
Classic.
There.
Yeah, I always wear sweatshirts and long sleeves. I'm just trying to hide my bodacious biceps.
So while Robert is busy answering questions, supplement questions in detail, I'm busy screenshotting his head and photoshopping it in a masterful way in the background. So that's when you'll see Robert flex his Bicepticons. What do we got here?
Oh, my goodness. That was a good laugh.
Conway. I'm getting a lifting belt and knee wraps for Christmas. Thanks for the advice in selecting one. Our pleasure. Those are two good additions. I get a lot of people asking when they should use a lifting belt. And generally, I tell them when they have a really reasonable squat and deadlift form, then it's probably they could consider getting one. There's really no benefit to getting a quality lifting belt if you have really mediocre form. So, fix your form first and then move on to the belt. And no worries. We got nothing but time and good looks. So we are here, and I just can't get enough. I just simply cannot get enough of this. We'll just hit that one up again. Let's see. My gym is only playing Christmas music.
Good grief.
Goodness. I love Christmas music. I love Christmas time.
Yep.
We watch a Christmas show every night of the week leading up to Christmas. But if I had to listen to that at the gym, I would literally I'd be like Hulk Hogan, pointing to the crowd, wait for them to cheer so I could just go destroy the stereo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we watched the Santa Claus yesterday, the Tim Allen one from the 90s, the original one.
We have you seen the one with Kirk Russell, the Christmas Chronicles?
I saw the advertisement for it on Netflix, but I have not actually watched the movie yet.
There's a number 2. We didn't watch number 2. We watched number 1, but it was actually pretty good. Cool. And speaking of Christmas stuff, my wife is obviously a costume maker, and we watch a lot of period stuff. And we stumbled across a show last night called Dickensian. Charles Dickens. Mm-hmm. And it basically is a 20-episode BBC series. And that's British television, not porn BBC, for those of you keeping score at home. But it has all the characters from the Charles Dickens world, and it's really well made. Never made it past season 1, but we're going to watch it anyway. But if you guys have gyms that are playing Christmas music, I'd like to hear about it because I have never heard of that before, and I would probably go crazy if I had to listen to what are some Christmas songs that annoy you? Robert, do you have any Christmas songs that annoy you?
Wait, Stein's in Norway. So what do you think Norwegian Christmas music is? So, but they probably don't have the things like we have chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jingle Bells, The Grinch, Winter Wonderland, all of that stuff. I'm curious to see what Norwegian Christmas music is like.
I'd be curious to you guys watching what Christmas songs drive you crazy. Like for me, Feliz Navidad drives me crazy. And it's not because it's, not in English or anything like that. It's just the same line repeated over and over again. Feliz Navidad, like 800 times. Like, shut up already.
Yeah, I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. I don't like that one. I don't like the little kid voice singing with it. That's annoying.
How about I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, I've never heard that song before. And then last weekend when we were driving out to Iron Wolf, Sandy said, Robert, I got to play the song for you. I remember that I used to love this all the time when I was a kid, and then I played it for Sophia, our 3-year-old. And so we listened to that for like 10 minutes straight, and I just, no.
There was, my wife's Australian, for those of you unaware. And there's a Christmas song. And one Christmas, a tornado, a cyclone went through and destroyed Darwin. And there's this depressing song about how Christmas never came to Darwin. It's an Australian song. But like, I get to listen to like some Australian songs. We're talking about songs from Norway. But my wife has introduced me to many. There's one called Snow White Boomers, if you want an Australian Christmas song. It's like White Kangaroos. It's some odd white kangaroo Christmas. 6 White Boomers. Okay, ready, ladies and gentlemen? For your viewing entertainment, we're going to crank it up.
Christmas comes in the middle of a very hot summer. So when Santa Claus,
I won't keep this on forever.
Taken around by reindeer because they can't stand the terrible heat. Great big zoo. Mommy, where's my mommy? Inside the bag of toys, little Joe hopped. But they hadn't gone far when Santa stopped, unharnessed all the
Wait, we gotta hear the chorus, and we'll move on.
Then he heard a far off booming in the sky. Listen.
Here comes. Get ready. Maybe.
6 white boomers, snow white boomers, racing Santa Claus through the blazing sun.
There you go. That's
that's what I get. Australians.
6 white boomers. That's what I get to listen to. So,
if anybody wants a parody or a spoof on Christmas songs, go look up Twisted Christmas or Twisted Radio. Chipmunks roasting on an open fire. So instead of chestnuts, so it's riffing on Alvin and the Chipmunks. I love that song. That is a guilty pleasure Christmas song for me.
All right. So if anybody's still watching after that, thank you. Since gym's closed up again in Austria, I'm asking myself, how long can I hold strength levels and muscle mass while only body? Not long. If you're doing body, you got to do what you got to do, right? So just continue to challenge yourself. Don't pressure yourself. Put together a program that's enjoyable. Understand that muscle memory is a real thing. So, once you get back to the gym, if you lose any muscle mass, you'll gain it back. I'm not telling you can't gain muscle. There are definitely progressions on body weight exercises. For those of you unfamiliar, check out body weight exercise progressions. You'll find a wealth of information. I'm not saying you can't build muscle or challenge yourself. I'm just saying it's not as easy for the average individual. We all know how to do the bench press and the dumbbell curl, but we don't really all know the push-up progressions. So, Robert, do you deal with any progressions in body weight stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's been some of my bread and butter stuff since I've been training at home for years and years and years on end. For push-ups, I mean, you can start. There's all kinds of stuff, and you don't have to go straight to like one-arm push-ups or the circus trick or planches or anything like that. You can buy a simple suspension trainer, and that'll help with it. You could do dips. You could do decline push-ups where you elevate your feet up on that. You can also put your hands on a pair of thick textbooks or get some push-up handles, so that increases the range of motion even further. So you have your feet up on a bench, put your hands up on push-up bars or handles or something like that. Go all the way down, increases the range of motion, the amount of work and distance that your muscles have to travel. That'll increase the tension overload. You can play with 3-second isometrics. You can do 1.5 reps. And this is all just standard push-ups. This isn't even getting into things like archer push-ups, diamond push-ups, super wide push-ups. or where you have things like a hand modified, like put one hand on a dumbbell or medicine ball and make just like this one hand in the center of your body and just go down like that. I've been working with a lot of those lately, trying to get up my single arm pressing strength. There are so many. You can do Spider-Man push-ups. You can do T push-ups. Shit. I mean, and you can progress all those from like feet on the ground to feet elevated, feet spread apart to feet close together. There are so many. I almost wonder if we should do like a video like that in the forum or something, Steve. Just like all the different push-up progressions I can think of, and we just do a video on it.
It's an interesting topic. I at one point I wanted to get to the point where I could do handstand push-ups. And there's a progression there where you start like doing, for example, the pike press, which I used to do every workout. And then you would kind of put your feet against the wall and try to do a push-up, a handstand push-up with your feet propped against the wall. And from there, you got to advance to balancing actually in a handstand and doing a push-up. So some very interesting and challenging progressions. There is a book I would probably recommend if any of you like to putz around with body weight stuff. There's a book called Never Gymless by Ross Enamate, and it was the Bible back in the day, a really thick book just packed with information. And I'm sure some of it's been surpassed by now, but it's just a really good book to have in your gym if you can find it. You've seen it, Robert?
Oh, yeah. I remember reading Ross's stuff way back, 5-10 years ago, or even maybe longer than that, when I first started getting serious about training and whatnot.
He's kind of an interesting guy. I never see him anywhere being interviewed by anybody on social media doing anything. But the guy was literally a beast. I don't think he ever did anything more than body weight stuff. But the body weight stuff he could do was actually absolutely phenomenal.
It's kind of like Dante Trudell, the guy that created DC training. It's like you never hear from him, but he's created one of these programs that everybody knows, but you never see him on interviews, podcasts, or anything like that.
Right. I wouldn't even know what he looks like. How to target the traps and build growth. There are a couple muscle groups that have limited range of motion, like the traps. When I say range of motion, what do you got here? An inch, right? When you're doing a bicep curl, you're moving it through space over a foot or whatever it is. Who's counting, right? Yeah. But because you have that limited range of motion, that reduces the time under tension. And time under tension generally isn't something you have to worry about for most exercises because it falls into place with a reasonable amount of volume. But with the traps, sometimes you have to get a little bit creative. So you either have to do a lot of high reps, or you could slow down your reps. I'm generally not an advocate of slow reps, but I've been doing an experiment with a client on seated calf raises where we're doing slow reps to increase the time under tension, and he gained like an inch on his calves in 3 months, and he's one of these tough gainers. So I like the combination probably of doing a lot of volume on power shrugs. And people will make fun of you if you do power shrugs, but you get the combination of heavier weight with volume or time under tension. And then maybe, the tides are starting to turn a little bit where I'm starting to think about actually using, after that, doing some slow controlled, maybe a couple second count ups and downs just to give some icing on the cake. Robert, do you have any thoughts on traps and growth?
Not beyond what you said, no. I mean, that's pretty much everything.
I mean, you're going to have lifts like deadlifts that are going to work on overhead presses that are going to work them. Make sure
farmers walks could be beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, loaded carries can be a staple. Loaded carries, deadlifts, overhead presses. Get those strong if you want big traps, and then do trap work as well. I'm not sure what James is referencing. It could have been this last question, but I think we covered it. Is it possible to get adapted to too much volume and not be able to grow from less? If you are doing, let's say you're doing 5x10 on bench, okay? Let's say you're doing it with 185. If you decide to move to a program where you're going to reduce the volume, there might be a period of time where you don't get much out of it. Let's say you're doing 185 by 5 by 10, and I'm just thinking out loud here, and you go to 185. You can only do 3 sets because the gym is packed and it's COVID, and they kick you out after an hour and all that good stuff. So you can only do 3 sets of bench. If you focus on progression, there might be a month or 2 period of time where you're getting back up to speed. But if you focus on progression, you should over time be able to grow. If you're super strong, it's not going to matter because you're not, you don't have much to gain to begin with. But if you move from a lot of volume to less volume, you just got to make sure your programming's okay and be a little bit patient, have a progression scheme, that sort of thing, and you should be fine. Robert, is there anything I'm missing?
No. I mean, I think I think there's it can be possible for the body to acclimatize or acclimate to doing higher volume stuff, and then when you switch to a low volume, there's going to be a period of desensitization where your body's used to doing that. But I think, kind of like you said, Steve, after a month or two, your body kind of resets and there's a new norm. So there's a slight detraining that occurs to where you're not obviously use it or lose it mentality. So if you're used to doing a high amount of volume and then you swap to doing low volume, I'm going to believe there's going to be a little bit of a detraining effect, but then your body kind of resets and there finds a new norm, unless your volume is so low that you're below like the minimum effective volume, to borrow a Mike Israetel term, to where you're just doing such little volume, you're not even hitting the bare minimum threshold required to force your body to adapt. So say you're used to doing like 15 sets of chest a week, and then you drop down to just 3 sets. I mean, that's such a huge drop in volume that you're not even approaching like the minimum dose required to maintain your size. You've dropped so far off the cliff in that regard.
It was a question that I was trying to process in my head because, like Robert says, the body's very good at adapting to specific demands. So whatever you're doing, the body will work hard to adapt to it and become more efficient at it. With that said, when you increase the volume, usually that comes at the expense of something else, intensity or frequency. So if you're doing a lot of volume, usually you can't do a lot of intensity or a lot of frequency. So when you drop the volume, it opens the door to increase intensity or frequency. So that's only one variable. We have to remember that volume is only one variable. When we are doing a lot of volume, that can be good from the volume standpoint, but it can also make it harder to progress. If you're doing 5 sets of 10 on a bench press with 225 and you're trying to progress, it's going to be a little bit harder than doing 225 by 5 by 10 on bench. It'll be easier to progress at 225 by 3 by 10 because of the reduced volume. So just keep in mind there are other variables, volume, intensity, and frequency to training. And when one is reduced, that opens the door to raise the others, or to bring up the others, if that makes sense. What do we got here? Greg Duvier. Why did you think people care more about the bench, deadlift, and squat over the overhead press and barbell rows? The sexiness of powerlifting, I think. We are social media driven, and when you watch social media, you see a lot of big numbers on the bench, on the deadlift, on the squat. I had videos up of 315 behind the neck press, 315 seated overhead press. I had a barbell row set of 405 by 5. It's just not sexy. I don't know why. I'm more impressed by seeing people do strong numbers on other lifts. Not saying these lifts I don't care about, but when I see somebody do a strong overhead press or barbell row, I know they've got strong other lifts. So I would say social media. Robert, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think part of it's just kind of been the evolution of powerlifting and bodybuilding over the years. So like way back in like the origins of just physical culture and physique development, there was a certain athletic component. You just didn't have to just look good, but you had to actually perform well. So you had to be able to do all kinds of different, hoist a 100-pound dumbbell over your head and do all this stuff. And I think as, like when Joe Weider came along and all the Arnold and his crew, all of those guys, the Muscle Beach era started coming along, there was started becoming more of a focus on the traditional power lifts because those are the lifts those guys were using to build a lot of muscle. And then we got them powerlifting as a sport came around, and the focus on the big three became that way. So I think it's been a gradual progression over the years. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like you said, those are, it's definitely the thing of powerlifting. I'm curious why I can understand why the overhead press isn't in powerlifting, because there's too much of a risk of somebody failing and dropping a barbell on their face. But why not the barbell row? Why not put that in there?
I don't know. I like the Pendley row. I like the Pendley row. Like the barbell row, the heavier weight you use, the more you tend to get upright if you never let the weight touch the ground. I don't know. I will say this: anybody that this is kind of an off, like a rabbit trail, but if you want a strong deadlift, if you can get your Pendley row up a lot, you will have a very strong deadlift. And let me explain. Let's say I got my Pendley row up to 405 by 5. If I can Pendley row 405 by 5 off the ground in a bent over position, how much you think I can deadlift? Like I'm just exploding 405 by 5 up. If I stand upright and get into more of a leverage position, it's not a function of one will make another stronger. It's basically when you get your overhead press and your barbell strong, that mentality probably means you're going to get everything else strong as well. So anyway, and strongman stuff, one could argue we see a lot of impressive strongman stuff on social media as well, but that's not as sexy. I think that's because not a lot of us have access to the same types of equipment. How many people can do a log press, et cetera? How many? I see people doing Atlas stones, but it almost seems like lately I see less of that on social media than before. So I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. Stein, bench press training tips. Bench press training with a slingshot is super. Thanks for the info on this. I'm glad you like it. I love it. People used to laugh at me. He trains with the slingshot all the time. When he takes it off, he's going to die. Well, the truth is, when I was 346, I used pounds, body weight. When I lost 100 pounds, I came back and actually set a PR on my bench press after losing 100 pounds using only the slingshot. So I love, 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 love overload. Since gym's closed down again, we got that
one. It's a duplicate.
Thoughts on Alpha Destiny's neck training? Drum roll, please. I have a video called The Real Truth about forearm and neck workouts. Here's the thing that I've stated in this video. A lot of you guys want big necks and big forearms. But the same guys, and this always angers somebody, but it's the truth, and you can hate me if you want. If you have not built your arms and legs and chest and bench press and deadlift and squat to a strong intermediate level, and you have not built your size to a strong intermediate level, why do you think you can build your neck and forearms using a couple fuck around, dick around, fuck exercises? Why do you think you can do that and build a huge neck and huge forearms? Alpha Destiny fits a niche, right? But I'm going to be honest with you, as I was in this video. Every experienced lifter that I know has a big neck and forearms, and they don't train them directly, typically. It's because you don't have to. If you want a big neck and forearms, you got to spend 5 to 10 years getting everything else big and strong. I did have one comment in this video. Why is Mark Lobleiner's neck small? I got breaking news for you. Mark is super lean, and his neck is still big. It just doesn't look big because it's not one of these fat 270-pound powerlifter necks that you're used to looking at and fantasizing over. I don't want to be hard. I'm not being hard on Alpha Destiny, but the truth is you guys really don't need neck training. There are some reasons to neck train, Robert, right? Martial arts, etc.
Yeah, Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, judo guys, wrestlers. Yeah, those can definitely benefit from neck training. But, I mean, Did Jay Cutler do neck training? Did Ronnie Coleman do neck training? Did Arnold do neck training? Did all, like Dorian Yates, did the greatest Olympians in the history of bodybuilding do neck training? I'm very much inclined to believe no.
It's like somebody trying to learn how to dunk that doesn't even know how to dribble a basketball. Like baby steps first, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
not needed by 99.9% of the population. That's my advice on neck training.
My big point is like get your strength levels from head to toe strong. Build that base. Your neck's going to go up naturally. If you don't believe me, I'm not lying to you. I'm really not. Go find any experienced lifter walking around the Arnold, and he's going to have a big neck, and ask him how much neck training he does, and he's going to look at you like, kick rocks, kid. I don't do neck training. It's just like it's a whole market, a whole niche that's aimed towards skinny guys that want to look big and powerful. If you want to look big and powerful, get big and powerful.
Yep.
All right. Can I build muscle by eating at maintenance calorie level? Robert and I discussed this in depth yesterday during our muscle building nutrition masterclass, which is available over at superlivingtoday.com. If you want more information, there's a menu thing that says masterclass. Can you build muscle by eating at maintenance level? One thing we discussed, Robert, is that this is typically a question asked by individuals that are not overweight. Is that a fair statement, Robert?
Yeah, it's the skinny guys that are looking that have a fear or a phobia of getting too fat when they start eating above maintenance. They don't want to get too big or too bulky. Is right. where I've kind of encountered this question a lot.
So let's assume that 90% of the questions are asked. We're not trying to shame anybody or offend anybody. We're just trying to basically state that 90% of people that ask this question are at a normal body weight. Okay. They're not part of the obesity epidemic. But they're afraid of getting fat, which is a reasonable fear. Let's say whatever you're at, 140, 150, 160, 170, doesn't matter. The number's arbitrary. If you want to pack on 20 pounds of muscle and you're 140, that means at some point you're going to have to get to 160. If you think you're going to stay at 140, which would be a maintenance level, is you're not gaining any weight, okay? You might have to adjust your maintenance level over time, but maintenance level is not getting any weight. So what you are asking is, can I stay at 140, 150, 160, gain 20 pounds of muscle while losing 20 pounds of fat and stay right there? I'm going to tell you, if we could do this, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
So
it's a matter of simple, thermodynamics. You want to increase the size of your body. Your body cannot just manifest the calories needed to build that muscle on its own. You're not going to be able to trade that fat for muscle, the little bit of fat that you have on your body. You're going to need extra calories, excessive nutrient intake, and that's going to come from food. So if you want to gain 20 pounds, you want to gain 30 pounds, you're going to have to eat a shit ton of food to get there. You do it slowly over the course because you don't want to get a bunch of fat while you're doing this. But, I'm assuming since you're asking this question, you're probably more to the beginner, maybe early intermediate end of the spectrum versus more of like the late intermediate or advanced individual. So eat a moderate surplus, 10, 15% above maintenance. Lift really hard, get plenty of sleep, take your recovery seriously, and watch the gains flow.
One of the big fears that people have is that they're going to get fat if they bulk or gain weight. And this is something Robert and I discuss in our muscle building nutrition masterclass. Bulking properly is not going to get you fat. The problem we run into is basically two things. Number one, when people bulk, they bulk way too aggressively. And they gain 30 to 40 pounds in a very short period of time. Really, a 30-pound gain should be done over 3 years, not 3 months at maximum. So people think they equate bulking to rapid weight gain. And Robert and I basically, a pound a month, maybe a pound and a half a month if you're training hard. And you're going to get, if you're training hard, you're going to gain at least 2/3 of that's going to be muscle, hopefully. But even if it's only half, you've only gained a few pounds of fat, and you're still at a controlled rate of weight gain. One of the other issues, and I was thinking about this morning, Robert, is when you talk about inconsistency in diet, you get somebody on a bulk, okay? And then Christmas comes and Christmas cookies and pizza parties, and all of a sudden they gain 15 pounds in a month, and they're like looking fluffy in the mirror. So one of the issues is we have this accordion thing going on where aggressive, somebody will go on a bulk and they'll get a little sloppy and they'll gain 15 pounds, and like 1 month it's bulk, 1 month it's cut, 1 month it's bulk, 1 month it's cut. And that is certainly not a good way to try to build muscle. So you have the aggressive bulkers and the accordion bulkers. So what's your parting shot, Robert, for somebody that wants to build muscle but's afraid of getting fat?
You're going to end up wasting a lot more time when you could be making much better progress. I mean, I spent when I first got into training, this was something I struggled with immensely. And you lose so much time, you're wasting so much effort, and you're not going to see the results that you would get if you would just eat in a surplus. Fuel your body with good food, plenty of calories, quality calories. Muscle building it's an arduous journey, and it's going to require patience and dedication, but it's much easier to strip off any fat. Say you gain 5 pounds of fat, you'll lose that in a month of dieting, whereas the gains you'll make by fueling your body properly will be so far outmatched by trying to gain or main gain or whatever kind of bullshit people are peddling these days, where trying to bulk and while eating and maintenance calories.
I sure wish that we could gain 20 pounds of muscle while losing 20 pounds of fat. That would make life easy. But it just doesn't work that way. Yeah,
it's so inefficient trying to recomp. Outside of the rank beginner, it's such an inefficient, slow grinding process that is just not beneficial or effective or efficient for the vast majority of lifters.
And look, I had a client that came to me 2 years ago that had never touched a barbell. And after 6 months, he was squatting 315 by 5, benching 225 by 5. He was phenomenal, but he was one of the 1/1000s that just had genetics that were born to run.
Yeah.
It's like finding Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods when they were 8. They're already there. They just didn't know it yet. So outside of those guys, your old SOL, as they say in the shit out of luck business. Scotty Mac, my favorite workout music is Rammstein. Angry, big German growling and crunching down-tuned guitars. That bar is going to move. Yeah, whatever stirs the pot. I mean, I had there's like 2 or 3 songs whenever I had a big lift that I would always make sure I had close. I don't know about you, Robert. Are you kind of the same way?
I had a friend in high school that I haven't seen that name in, God, I don't know. I mean, I graduated high school in 2003. I had a friend that actually liked that band a lot. So that's kind of a blast from the past here, and that I'm surprised they're still around. Or maybe they're not, and he's just listening to old records. I don't really know. I don't follow the German rock band scene.
What's the oddest song you listen to when you're lifting?
God, I don't know if I want to admit this on screen.
I'll admit mine. I won't lie.
I mean, mine kind of goes, it depends on the day and the workout. I mean, like sometimes Sandy will put on like Casey and the Sunshine Band stuff. Other times we're listening to like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Sometimes it's like Michael Jackson stuff. Other times it's classic rock, and I've got like the Rocky IV soundtrack going, or Van Halen. It really kind of depends on like the mood of the day and the workout. So like leg workouts, I amp myself up enough for those days. Like we were talking about before we jumped on this live, Steve, that I need something a little bit more mellow. I don't need something like super hardcore, blowing my ears out, because I psych myself up enough for that. But something like a shoulder day, that's probably when I'll get out like the more aggressive stuff, because shoulders and calves are kind of like those 2 muscle groups that I don't really enjoy training all that much. And it's a slow grind to see progress with those muscle groups.
The oddest song that I listen to, I'm a child of the 80s. I used to sit around watching MTV. Yep. And one band that I still enjoy is Flock of Seagulls, Iran. So that's sometimes on the playlist. I'm not going to put that on when I'm going for a squat PR, but I won't lie, that's on the old playlist. So Bring the Hate.
Yeah, guilty pleasure Christmas song. And if anybody wants to go have a really, really fun and good laugh, the 80s were amazing in a number of ways. And some of the music videos there are priceless. Go look up Last Christmas by George Michael and Wham. Look up the music video of that. You will be laughing your ass off for the rest of until Christmas passes. You will enjoy that. So everybody go look that up.
I can hear it in my head. Rob.
I'm not talking like the bastardized version that Kelly Clarkson or Taylor Swift or whoever the fuck remade it a couple years ago, like the original George Michael version. Just go enjoy that.
Like Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The
very
next day, what is it? The very next day, you took it away or something?
Yeah.
What a depressing song. Yeah, I got a Christmas story for you. Like, my ex-wife doesn't watch this, so I think I'm pretty safe. But her dad was one of these old school grumpy, tough as leather bastards that just would work all day and sleep all night. And I think I'm just assuming from what I saw that his second wife got so sick of him, just being this stodgy, grumpy old man, that one Christmas when I was still married to her, everybody showed up for Christmas and his wife wasn't there. And he said that he woke up to find a letter on Christmas morning saying, "Kick rocks, I'm out of here." All of her shit was gone. She packed up and left in the middle of the night. Oh. So I imagine she might have been listening to that George Michael song.
There you go. Everybody go look up the music video of Wham! Last Christmas. You'll enjoy yourself.
Thaddeus, Redline Rage, a.k.a. Robert's suggestion for ingredients for my own pre-workout are coming soon. I hope that works out well for you. You might want to pop, like on the weekends after you have a nice glass of wine and the kids are off with the babysitter, pop half a scoop, before hitting the old sack. And I don't know.
It'll be lit up.
A little bedtime rage, what I'm saying?
And I'll do a plug for the forum since he just mentioned he highly recommends the forum. So, guys, supplement companies pay me a pretty penny to help them with formulations and stuff like that. And we, and on Steve's website, I offer one-time consults for people that want to optimize their supplement stacks. That's $75 for a one-time, like 1 hour phone call with me. If you subscribe to the forum, I will custom design any kind of formula supplement stack. You can ask me 4,000 questions as you want to every day on the day, and we'll answer them all in due time. So you get a hell of a discount. It's a hell of a wealth of information that other supplement companies are paying top dollar to get access to.
Seriously, for any of you guys that are using any supplements at all, if you join the Insider, Robert will tell you that's junk, that's trash, don't use that, use this. You get me looking at your exercise form. You get a lot of value for that price. So make sure Santa Claus gives you a Massive Iron Insider subscription. Guys, we are an hour and 37 minutes in, and we'll keep rolling as long as you have questions. Please continue to post up your questions. If you're new, never posted before, just let it rip. Post up your questions. Don't be afraid. We'd love to help. I know sometimes I get angry and grumpy. I'm fired up about lifting. I'm pretty passionate about what I do. And, I love helping people. So just post up your questions. I'm here to help. Behind the scenes on Instagram, my DM blocks just is never ending. And I answer every question for free. So I'm really dedicated to helping you guys out, and I appreciate your support. So if you need help, don't be shy. Even I had somebody yesterday from Trinidad and Tobago. I had a client call, and it was a female, and she said, "I was a little bit nervous to talk to you because I thought you were really angry and grumpy."
Funny.
I'm sorry if I come off that way. I'm in person. I just drink a lot and give out a lot of hugs. Robert knows too well.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm still recovering from our beer bender that we did when I was in Ohio 2 years ago.
My knees pop. Is that normal? Yes, my knees have popped forever.
Yeah,
I think there's some physiological thing. It's not abnormal, not something to be concerned about. It could be a tendon as well. I don't know. But generally, nothing to be concerned about if you don't have any pain.
Yeah, if there's no pain, then you're pretty much good to go.
Redline Fitness, I pretty much only like TSO Christmas music. I don't know what that means.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the kind of like rock band stuff. We saw them a couple of times when they were live in New Orleans. It was a good show. I think it's definitely good to see it live in person the first time. After that, I mean, it's the same. It was the same show every year, and I think the third time we went to go see it, they changed it, so they stopped playing all the stuff everybody liked, and they put in all this new shit, and it was not good. But yeah, it's good to go do it one time. I do like the Christmas in Sarajevo.
We have, I'm not sure if you have any light shows where you're at where they do it to the music and you get like the Chipmunks and Trans-Siberian Orchestra and stuff like that. I enjoy that once for 20 minutes. So I won't lie.
Yep.
We watched Alf the other night. I hadn't seen Alf in a while, and I forgot how much of a good, just classic movie it was.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got here? Fairy Tale of New York, and I wish it could be Christmas Every Day are my top two. The former is a karaoke favorite of mine. I wish it could be Christmas. I don't know about that one. Who sings that one?
Might be. I mean, Scotty is in Scotland, so maybe it's a Scottish thing. I want a video of you karaokeing that song, Scott.
I do not. I love you, but I do not. My favorite Christmas album is the Charlie Brown Christmas album. And before you scoff, I love jazz. I love jazz music.
Yep.
And that is some brilliant jazz playing. Just good to listen to.
It brings me up. All right, so I'm glad you brought up jazz. Another good song for everybody to go listen to. Go look up "Oh Holy Night" by the Tom Cubis Big Band. It's got Wayne Bergeron on lead trumpet in that. Tom Cubis, Kubis. Go listen to that. Man, if that version of "Oh Holy Night" doesn't melt you, you don't have a soul.
I love the trumpet. I've been saying for years, asking my wife for years to get me a trumpet. I've been playing guitar my whole life. I know how to play piano passably, but I always want to get into trumpet because I find trumpet to be, for my ear, the most pleasing and intriguing wind. I mean, just unbelievable.
Yes, it is. And I'm a trumpet player, so yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that, Steve. Wholeheartedly agree with that.
Man, I could listen to a good trumpet player all day. I just could.
I'll send you the Bergeron link after this.
Phil Brown, 57. I'm not sure if you're the 57th Phil Brown or you're a fan of the Cleveland Browns because your colors look kind of brownish of number 57. I'm doing your push-pull legs routine. It's great. I'm glad it is a benefit, but I do it as a rotate 4 days. I've been told, though, that you need to get everything in twice. No. One of the things I do a lot with my clients, with the majority of my clients, is they keep a flex schedule. So whether you're doing an A-B split or whether you're doing a push-pull leg split, you rotate. Generally for my clients, I have push-pull legs A, push-pull legs B. And so we have 6 workouts. They rotate between those workouts, inserting rest days in when they need to. Generally, as long as you're only lifting 3 days a week, you're fine. 4 days, you're getting in a little frequency. 5 days, a little bit more frequency. Honestly, I would prefer as a coach that my push-pull leg clients didn't work more than 4 or 5 days a week. I think that's optimal in the long run for most people. So I think you are doing it correctly, especially with swimming and karate.
Yep.
So what do we got here? I'm not sure why I finished that with a question mark. You should have had a question mark at the end of this, so I'm not sure why you didn't. Go to the corner of shame. Oh, what do you got here? Got myself some gymnastic rings a few months ago and love them. I have a client that uses them for inverted rows and dips and whatnot. I'm not sure about the anchoring in the home gym. I haven't really looked. I imagine you can anchor them off a squat rack. I don't know. Have you ever played around?
Yeah, you can anchor them off a squat. It kind of depends on the setup. So is it a single point anchor or a dual point anchor? You can anchor them off the top of the pull-up bar of the top of like your power cage or power rack or whatever, or you can find a stud up in the roof. They've got these little things that you bolt it to the top there, and then you thread the rings through there, so it's actually a single point anchor. Whereas if you're attaching it to the top bar of the squat rack out, you can have the independent points and where instead of it's just a fixed one in the center like that. It depends on the setup and what can he drill up into and find a stud in his roof or something to do that, or ceiling, not roof but ceiling.
And you guys, just a reminder, post up your questions now. We got some time left, so get them in now so we can so we don't miss anything. Let me turn my heater back on here. Every day, Robert, I'm in here and I'm in like I have this brown hoodie on, and I use it in every video. And lately, people are like, "You wear the same hoodie in every video." Like my office is literally freezing, and there's no heat back here, so I have a dog and 2 space heaters. And when I come down to my office every morning, I put on my brown hoodie, just so I don't die. And apparently, it's starting to trigger a few people. They think I wear the same clothes each day. So I thought I'd wear this today just to show you I actually changed clothes.
There you go.
What do we got? Animate Strength trains boxers now. I can believe it. I thought he was a boxer as well. He earns his living at it. I'd love to be trained by – I don't know about you, Robert. You've been in martial arts. I always wanted to find a time to get into boxing. I mean, I'm too old for martial arts right now, I think, for jiu-jitsu or whatever. I'm not very flexible, but I thought about doing a little bit of boxing. I don't know if you ever played around with that or have any interest in it.
I mean, we learned the standard punch combinations and whatnot with Taekwondo, just because it does. Taekwondo is heavily biased towards kicks and stuff, especially like the aerial kicks and jump kicks, and it's very kick-intensive martial arts. But there's still plenty of hand combinations and hand strikes and blocks and things of that nature. I've never wanted to pursue purely boxing, even though I love the Rocky movies. I like the total body aspect of being able to kick and punch, not just be restricted to the sweet science of boxing.
In YouTube fitness, it seems like every week somebody wants to box somebody. I'd find it more entertaining if you guys would just do a straight-out MMA fight and try to choke each other out, because a few of you need to be choked out. But I don't know. Boxing, I always thought it'd be fun. When Mark Lobliner got into boxing and I went to his match, he was just too much to deal with. Not technique, but his strength. And he was like a spaz. I mean, he was just throwing punches like a 3-year-old that had eaten too much sugar. But there's always a little bit of me inside that are like, I'd like a chance to knock that motherfucker out. He'd probably be a spaz on me and knock me out, but it'd just be fun to see what happens since we were old teammates. But maybe another life. Thoughts on visualization before training sessions. Back in the day, when I was on the wrestling team, we would end each session with visualization, just positive thinking, thinking about what you're going to do. And I think sometimes when you visualize things, it helps you focus. It's nothing magic, but when I would do like a big squat or a big deadlift, I would do a form of that just to get my head in that zone, everything else out of my head. I don't know if you ever practice any of it, Robert.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's like this structured, regimented, I'm going to sit down and enter like my Zen place or ascend to this ethereal spiritual realm. Not getting woo-woo about it, but, before every set, I'm thinking, all right, here's my logbook. Here's what I did last session. This is where I'm going to be. These are the muscles I'm focusing on. This is the action I'm pulling. If I'm doing a pull-up, I'm working on, pulling the bar down on my chest as explosively as possible. Putting my elbows, back by my ass cheeks kind of thing. I'm pressing, I'm trying to explode the weight up. And hey, I know I need to hit this number. Come hell or high water, this number. I mean, unless my form gets sloppy, obviously, but come hell or high water. Hey, this is what it is. This is the exercise. I know what I'm doing when I go into the workout. So I guess a little bit of it is planning, I guess, and understanding what's going into it. I guess that kind of is where I'm going with the visualization, is that, hey, I know, but I'm thinking about my training session, intermittently in the hours leading up to it, whether, if I'm writing, I'm thinking, all right, well, hey, it's 9 o'clock. I'm training at 11. Let me start trying to, just my mind I love just the science of hypertrophy training, resistance training, exercise, all of that stuff. So my brain's always got like one foot in that area where it's thinking about the training session, always thinking about, all right, what am I doing tomorrow? What's coming up the day after that? So I definitely think there's something to that, at least from just helping you get focused on the task at hand. I think it'll help you perform better if you're focused on, hey, I know I need to hit 10 reps this week. And then you put that in your mind. The mind's going to be a lot stronger than your muscles ever will be. And so by putting that nugget in there, it'll help you grind out, when things start to get tough.
When I was at my strongest, and this would happen mostly on squats, bench, not to super simplify things, but bench, you lay down, you press the weight off your chest, ta-da, you're done. But on the squat, so many things could go wrong. On the deadlift, you try to lift the bar off the ground. If it doesn't come off the ground, you're not going to die. On the squat, when I was in my basement gym and I had my little rack with the catch pins, it was like jumping into a war zone is how so many things could go wrong. You had to walk the weight out. You had to walk 600 plus pounds out in your basement with no spotters. You had chains sometimes. You could trip. A cat could have run under your feet. I mean, who knows? So I didn't say I'm going to visualize my set, but I would have the same music and I would be thinking of, I would be thinking of my squat. One thing I would say over and over again is don't worry about the weight. Either it's coming up or it's not coming up. That's not going to make or break you. Focus on form, not on how heavy the weight is. Focus on form, not how heavy the weight is. And then I would walk through my cues in my head. And, that was an integral part of my ritual. Where's my phone? Okay, my phone is there. And I would tell, I was married at the time, I would tell my ex-wife, I'm going to do a heavy squat. And I would let her know because so many things could go wrong. In your basement with 640 pounds on your back going for a double, right? So I would let her know, I'm going to do something really insane. So just turn down the TV just for 1 second and listen. I got my phone handy. It sounds crazy, but that's kind of the life you are when you're squatting 650 in your basement.
Right.
There was one time when I got thrown out of my ritual, and this is why I would have this whole visualization ritual routine. I had I would usually do anywhere from 550 for 5 upwards of 645 for 2. Whatever I felt like on that day. I walked out, I believe, 605. And then I realized as I'm preparing to descend and walking through my visualization and thinking, butt down, all this kind of stuff, I don't have my knee wraps on. And you're like, what do I do?
Oh, shit.
And you have to make a split-second call. Anybody that's trained with knee wraps, when you have 600 pounds on your back, everything's amplified. You're like, I'm going to either tear a knee or I'm not going to tear a knee. I don't fucking know, but I'm going to fucking go for it.
Right.
But the visualization, the routine really, really, really helps the more intense the activity, I would say. All right, Luke. How much more muscle do you think you can gain bulking versus eating at maintenance? We covered this earlier. When you're bulking properly, you open the door. When you're at maintenance level, you're trying to build muscle and hold weight. Maintenance level, the definition of maintenance level is maintaining weight. The calories that allow you to maintain weight. You are trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. I don't really think you're going to be doing a lot of that, to be honest with you.
Highly inefficient. And you'll end up spinning your wheels and getting pissed off and quitting before you actually see any real benefits or gains in size and strength.
I don't even like the question. I don't like anybody even trying it. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, and it violates basic laws of thermodynamics. Let's say, all right, you're 140 pounds. You want to gain weight you want to have 160 pounds. You, by definition, can't do that. You're not going to manifest the amount of calories needed to increase your body weight 20 pounds by eating at maintenance. It's just not going to happen.
Why are you trying to do something that 99.999% of every lifter has? That's not what they've done. You're trying to create a new way because of some fear. And let's be real. There's some fear here. There's fear of gaining weight. There's fear of getting fat. Here's how people gain weight and get fat. They sit there at the end of the day and they go, I fucking hate life. I'm going to get a fucking 12-pack of beer, a pizza, 32 wings, and then I'm going to binge watch you know, Dancing with the Stars because I'm a weirdo and like that show. No offense to you weirdos that watch that show. And then midnight comes around, you're still awake. So you go to the fridge and you're like, oh, I'm going to eat the ice cream and then the dream. That's how people get fat, right?
Yep.
Not by a structured bulk. So I don't like the question. It's usually founded in fear. Rock you, Joshua. Any Olympia predictions this weekend? I did see somebody got booted for having COVID. I don't know if they can compete or not. I don't know if they have to wear a mask and go to the corner of shame and pose. I don't know how all that stuff works. I'm not sure why it was news. Does anybody know who that was? Robert, can you pull it up? Maybe I can pull it up.
Let me see.
Somebody had to go to the corner of shame.
Rolly Winkler.
Yeah, can he compete or not? I mean, it's the Olympia stage. It's not like you can't get 6 feet away from somebody.
It says he's out of the 2020 bodybuilding contest.
Oh, good grief. I mean, seriously.
He could not fly to the U.S. from Istanbul, Turkey, where he's
currently
currently
he's going from Turkey. I thought he'd be in the U.S.
Yeah.
That I can understand. All right, I get it. Any predictions? No. I mean, this year for me has been all about trying not to, lose my shit because of COVID. I mean, I own a small business. My wife owns a small business, and I've just been focusing on my world. I didn't even know the Olympia was going on, to be honest with you.
Yeah, moved down to Florida this year.
I know the Arnold's been postponed. We were thinking of doing a booth there, but I'm not going to invest my money in that until they can figure out when they're going to run it.
Yeah, I think probably it's going to be Phil or Brandon Curry. Those will be the top two in the Open.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tiger Fitness has a new line with Brandon Curry, don't they? Remember those bars you were talking about on your supplement podcast?
Yeah, the Big O or whatever it's called.
Yeah, aren't those just outright bars that are like twice as big?
I didn't see the actual ingredient list. I thought it was more of like a regular protein bar, not a Whole Foods bar. I'd have to go back and look.
I gotcha. I don't know. I thought when I looked at the macros, it looked like an outright bar that was just a lot bigger, like 500 calories. What's the name of that thing anyway? What is it? Brandon Curry protein bar. Hold on, folks.
O15 Nutrition.
O15. Big O bar. Okay. I got it right here. And let me just pull up the Shamazel here for all of you keeping score at home. We'll get this out of the way. The Big O bar at Tiger Fitness, you can see, it's got these fruity cereal peanut butter. But when I see peanut butter, that's why I start to think it's an outright bar base. But let's pull up the juicy nutritional information. And we'll go for a single bar fruity cereal.
A lot of fat in it.
460 calories. Yeah, it's because it's all protein based, and 27 grams of protein. I would bet a testicle that it's an outright bar with a few extra ingredients because they don't have to keep them all natural. But maybe somebody who has it can school us.
I've got the ingredient facts pulled up right here. I'll share my screen.
This is Mr. B. Butters.
I feel.
Hello.
Mr. B. Butters is our new dog. This is how big this little Munchichi is. Look, Butters. Yeah, it's Mr. B. Butters.
I dare you to pick up Peanut.
Yeah. They play a lot, Mr. B. Butters and Peanut. Mr. B. Butters loves to bite Peanut in the ass, and Peanut loves to sit on his head. So they kind of have a thing going on.
He's swinging off her tail.
So Robert's looking up. I don't know if we have a picture of it, but
yeah, I got it. Click the share screen at the bottom, Steve.
Okay.
Whoop.
Well, we're going into a vortex.
There we go. So yeah, here's the ingredient panel. So you got 24 grams of fat. You got 42 grams of carbohydrates. 38 grams of that is sugar. That's nice. A whole 3 grams of fiber. 24 grams of protein. Peanut butter is the first ingredient, sugar, and then 2% less of fully hydrogenated vegetable oils, which that's not really the greatest thing for you. Dextrose, again, more sugar, salt, molasses, more sugar, honey, whey protein hydrolysate, which is a shitty form of whey protein. Instead of whey protein isolate or milk protein or whey protein concentrate. Sprinkles, which have all of these and things in there. White chocolate chips, non-fat milk powder, soy lecithin, MCT oil, sodium soluble tapioca fiber, sodium caseinate. So yeah, there's no oats in this like the Outright bar has. It's a fuck ton of honey and peanut butter.
Yeah, I guarantee what they did. Well, I don't know. In my opinion, what they did was the place that does the Outright bar, they said we need something a little bit more substantial. It's almost like a Big 100 bar. I love these little buggers right here. The Protein Plus peanut butter cup, 30 grams of protein and 300 calories. This is the best bang for the buck for me with protein and calories. But that sucker right there, you eat a couple of those, you probably need a laxative or something.
Yeah, and any protein bar that has a 1-to-1 ratio of grams of fat versus grams of protein, that's not a protein bar. I mean, that's like, it's, I don't even know what to say. I mean, that's almost worse macros than a pizza.
Yeah, I mean, we get to share our opinion. I wouldn't, there's a lot of bars I would taste. You put like fruity cereal and peanut butter, and then 460 calories, and like I'm out. That's not for me. You guys can make up your own mind. But I'll stick to this. I mean, with these suckers, for 600 calories, I'm getting 60 grams of protein. So I don't eat 2 a day, obviously. But would any of your programs help me if I have a barbell, 2 dumbbells, a bench, medicine ball, and bands? You have a barbell and dumbbells, and you can do body weight stuff. You have all you need. I would say half of my clients have that stuff right now. What I would suggest is doing the insider route, because with the insider, you can show me your programming. We can go through the nuts and bolts, swap out a few exercises, etc. But outside of that, man, you can pretty much swap in and out anything you want. For example, let's say you were doing a machine chest press. What I do a lot for home clients is I have them do a set of dips supersetted with a set of push-ups. So you don't have a machine, you can't do pec deck, you can't do machine chest press. Boom, you can do dips supersetted with push-ups, you're good to go. So there's always a simple solution. Is it normal to only feel your forearms during a bicep curls? Somebody asked me today, is it normal to feel, one of my clients, your front delts during curls? Yes. No isolation exercises, purely an isolation exercise. That's a myth. Everything is involving grip, forearms, something, right? So it's not unusual. I would say, though, that if you are doing bicep curls and not feeling the bicep action, you might need a little bit of refinement.
And that's something I used to struggle, especially with like my left forearm. The left side of my body, I've said this before, it's retarded. So try loosening your grip on the dumbbell, or you can bend your wrist back this way, and that kind of helps reduce some of the contribution of the forearm muscle that way, and it shifts it more onto the bicep. You can also mess around with different, instead of curling straight up, play with supinate, pronate your hand to a different degree. Play with different dumbbell variation curls or bicep curls just to see which one actually you feel it in the biceps more than the forearms. But that'll probably be the 2 biggest things: loosening your grip a little bit and letting your wrist bend back. That'll make your bicep work more and less contribution to the forearm.
I'm just pulling up some pictures here for an upcoming question. With the biceps, what I would say is get a video of what you are doing and a curl set and send it to me and let me take a look. So I'd like to see, because there's a couple things I might be able to suggest to help you get more bicepticon action. All right, we got a hockey logo. I love hockey. Can you make strength gains, not hypertrophy, on 1 day a week training? Strength and hypertrophy are the same thing, no matter which way you slice and dice it. You need to have a bigger muscle to have a stronger muscle. Strength training or powerlifting generally has an off season. They're not generally peaking all year round. So just keep that in mind. But 1 day a week training, what I would say is you have to focus on what you can control. Okay. You really probably can't train every compound movement and be effective and be energetic and be healthy and be bouncy in 1 day a week, right? So you might need some intensity training. One Monday you might need to do bench and squats, and then some lighter assistance work, right? The next week you might want to focus on overhead press and deadlift, and do some lighter squats, light dumbbell bench, that sort of thing. So you would have to have somebody that knows programming to kind of make it work for you. Is it going to be challenging? Yes. Could it be done? It's not optimal, but if you bust balls, you can get the most out of once a week training. I've never seen anybody do it, but if you made me only train once a week, I would structure a program and I would work that program, and I would probably still hit +1s on that program. Robert, any thoughts or anything to add?
Like you said, it's going to be suboptimal. Can you make some progress and some gains? Yeah, it won't be as efficient as if you were able to train multiple times per week. Plus, you're also going to have to take into account that if you're only training once a week, you're not getting as many reps in or as many different exposures throughout the week. So there's going to be a little bit slower adaptation from the CNS in that, because strength is primarily the mind's ability to recruit the muscle fibers and exert a maximum amount of force to rip the bar off the ground, explode the bar off your chest. The less exposures you have to that movement pattern, the longer it's going to take you to learn, refine, and hone in your technique to where you can eliminate the inefficiencies in your movement patterns, which will then pay forward into you being able to lift the maximum amount of weight.
Just real quick, what we talked about, I would probably do squats and bench in one workout, one Monday, and the next Monday squats and bench focus, and the next Monday deadlift and overhead focus. I'd probably drop those to 2 sets apiece. I would probably, let's say on overhead and deadlift day, when I was done, I'd do deadlifts and overhead press, and then maybe a set or two of pull-ups, maybe a set or two of dumbbell bench. You'd have to drop the volume per exercise to get the most out of it. So you might only be doing 2 sets for the big hitters, maybe 1 to 2 sets for the assistance work, just to squeeze everything in and get it well-rounded. Bill Leach, I'm tired of John Jaquish commercials telling me weightlifting is a waste of time. He's got a book on Amazon that I think he paid, to get up and paid like 7,000 people to review. This guy is a complete, work of trash. He sells this band thing, and the guy is gassed on all the juice you can handle, and like he's telling people weightlifting is a waste of time. I hate this guy. I'm going to tell you I hate him. I don't hate him personally. Maybe he has a nice cat named Fluffy and he pets his cat and he goes to church and all that kind of stuff. I hate what he stands for. He's the worst of the industry, and I wish him nothing but failure.
Yeah, it's like V-Shred and Vince Del Monte level of douchebaggery with business tactics.
Right. He's just a trash can scraping up dollars on innocent people. He's a predator, and he can go fuck himself. Stein M., if I want to lose some body fat, how should I lose weight? Calorie deficit. That's it. Keep training the way you're training and calorie deficit. You want to weigh yourself probably on Monday and Friday because people tend to eat a little bit differently on the weekends. Aim to lose about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds a week. You can lose a little bit more if you want to get it over with, but most people struggle to be that consistent. So, Robert, anything to add?
No, I wouldn't be, the way you phrase the question, Stein, I wouldn't approach it how slow should you lose weight. I would approach it from the other end. How quickly can you lose the weight? Get rid of it as quick as possible to where you can get back to eating at maintenance or in a surplus and start building some more muscle and seeing progress in your training. Get the weight off as quickly as possible, then get back on the gain train.
So I missed the word slow, so I apologize there, Stein. I'm going to be honest. I have a big client base. I've had a big client base for a couple of years now. And the biggest issue most of them struggle with is consistency in diet. Nailing the number of people that nail 14 straight days on their diet is a very small percentage. So it's usually not a question of how slow should I lose weight. You usually want to set a target. And if you're having a good week and lose 3 pounds, run with it. The next week it might only be a pound. I would focus on consistency. The only way you're going to lose too much weight is if you're in a radically low calorie deficit or doing something extreme, and don't do that.
Yeah.
A Rammstein is definitely still going. All right, Morton, are you a bodybuilder or do you train for strength? Sorry for the English spelling. I'm Danish. No problem. All right, I'm going to share a few pictures. Okay.
What did you Photoshop now? Oh, okay. I was going to say,
this is me.
what did you put my head on now?
Yeah. This is, I'm fat, I'm overweight, I'm old. This, all the comments I get. That's me at 242. Okay. 242. I have a little bit of loose skin. You can't see. It's hiding under that. I got a little bit of loose skin under my on my side just because I was 346 pounds. So when I say I was 242, I got about 10 pounds of loose skin. So that's probably equivalent to 232. My body fat percentage, believe it or not, there was probably 22%. Was I a bodybuilder? No. I had some good bodybuilder genetics, obviously. My biceps from the side, they look impressive. When I flex, they look like ugly potatoes. That's why I never put them up to the side. But here I'm going to show you the difference between 242 and 262, 20 pounds. Okay? There I look more like a pro wrestler, more like a power lifter. I don't know if you can see the difference. That picture is the same as this guy, okay? You can see my little poo-poo belly. I got a little fat on the inside of my quads. So I'm a power builder. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm kind of a power lifter with bodybuilding genetics. I like building muscle and strength. That's why I call my channel more of a power building channel. I've never competed in bodybuilding. I've competed in powerlifting. I have a passion for both. I also have a passion for beer and food. So I really don't get super lean. I'm like most of us, right? The internet critics can say, hey, you're not shredded. I say, hey, you don't get to drink beer. So I'm sorry, I do. The best exercise for lower back. I am not generally a fan of lower back training. And because I'm not a fan, I'm not saying you shouldn't try it. But I believe that when you combine squats and deadlift and RDLs and all the other stuff we're doing, over time your lower back will get worked reasonably well. And then when you add lower back work into that equation, you're increasing the stress and pressure on your lower back and opening the door for, unwanted stress. So I don't know what do you have to say, Robert? I mean, you hit
with the heavy hitters there. The squats, deadlifts, RDLs, those are great. Hyperextensions or reverse hypers, whichever nomenclature you want to use for that, could be good. Supermans, where you're lying on the ground and trying to pick yourself up off the ground that way, putting your body into extension. Those are kind of the major heavy hitters right there. I don't know if you need to do much beyond that.
Yeah, I like your thinking. I mean, strengthening your core with ab wheel rollouts and plank variations and even things like Supermans are probably a good balance point with squats, deadlifts, RDLs. I just am afraid, unless it's a properly structured program, I'm nervous about adding in extra lower back work unless it makes sense in the context of the program. My first 3 years of training, I didn't do any deadlifts. I didn't know what a deadlift was. It was 86, 89. I really didn't deadlift until 2007. But I would do lower back work because I wasn't doing deadlifting. So if you're more of a bodybuilding muscle head, you don't want to deadlift, you can do some lower back work. Nigel, I love wasting my time with weight training. Best way to waste time. I love wasting my time with weight training as well. Running. What else do I do when I'm not weight training? Watch movies, drink beer. I wish I could have time to smoke a cigar. but maybe one day. All right, last question. Best kind of protein? Not really a best.
No, yeah, let's go with that. There is no best. Animal protein sources tend to have much higher bioavailability and essential amino acid profiles than plant proteins. If we're going to look at like a ranking, if we're using the different bioavailability or amino acid scoring charts that are out there, the top ones are dairy-based proteins like whey, casein, milk protein, yogurt, Greek yogurt, egg protein. So whole eggs are great. Beef is phenomenal. Turkey, chicken, fish, all of those are great. And then you start to get into the plant proteins after that.
People ask me a lot about my protein choices. If you look at a 2-week window, I eat, I do casein and whey. I also do a daily protein bar. Then I do a lot of eggs, beef, turkey, lamb, pork, shrimp, salmon, steelhead trout. What am I missing? I cover the gamut. Chicken, obviously. I also do chicken wings every, at least once every 2 weeks. I just love chicken wings. You get a little bit of skin, good for you. So I think I got the bases covered. I pretty much have everything. I toss a little bacon in there. I like to do sausages as occasionally. They taste good. They just do. Not the greatest for protein. Obviously, I do cheese. I like cheese. We keep cheese. We keep Gouda around in the fridge, the slices, because at night, if we're hungry, a couple slices of Gouda cheese. I like dipping it in a hot sauce. Don't judge me. Greek yogurt is another staple. So that's literally a 2-week snapshot of my protein intake. All of those food sources are what I get all the time. I just rotate between them each night based on what I feel like. And Morton says, thanks. Thank you for tuning in. All right, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll be here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Just a reminder.
Next Friday is Christmas.
Are we doing
a live next Friday?
No, we're not going to be here for Christmas. I'm going to be knee deep. My wife is getting me an 18-pack of beer for Christmas. She custom handpicked it. Some of the best beers in the world. So I'm going to be knee deep in that next Christmas. So we won't be here, but we'll be here the week after. Maybe it's New Year's. We might be watching bowl games. We might take a 2-week break. Who knows?
I'm up for New Year's Day. We're not going to be doing anything, so I'll leave it up to you.
Well, we appreciate you guys watching. Please go over to my website, which is right above here. Join the Massive Iron Insider. You get free content, master classes, articles, forum access, app access to me as your micro coach, access to Robert as your supplement coach. It's a great bargain. I also offer full-blown coaching. I have some slots left. So look into that. If you are part of the Massive Iron Insider, you get all my books for free. Free PDFs. My website also has all my workouts. If you want workouts, Robert does supplement assessments. A lot of good stuff. We also have Massive Iron gear. We also have training logs, hardcover books, you name it. We got all kinds of stuff. This is what I do for a living. This is what Robert does for a living. This is our small businesses, so we appreciate your support. So please check that out when you have time. Robert, you got the big weekend coming up before Christmas. What are you going to be doing this weekend?
Tomorrow I've got to record the Final Scoop podcast at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. So for anybody that's tuning in on this live stream and they want to see me and some other supplement industry insiders discuss all things that have happened this past week, tune in on the Supplement Engineer YouTube channel. I've got that. I'll be doing a bunch of cooking tomorrow as well because we're going over to Sandy's sister's house, who lives about 45 minutes north of us, on Sunday to have a holiday meal and do some gift exchanges with them since they've got 4 little hellions. I term them the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So we're doing that Sunday afternoon. And Iron Wolf in the afternoon after the podcast. Sunday is going to be cooking all day. And outside of that, relaxing and working.
Sounds like a fun weekend. I usually tune into the podcast. I have the last 2 weekends. and I try not to spam too many comments to those guys, but you guys tune in. You can find Robert at the Supplement Engineer on YouTube, on Instagram, and you can find him over on our forum. So thanks, Robert. As always, I appreciate it. And Morton said, please say the name of the supplement channel again. It is the Supplement Engineer, the Supplement Engineer. All right. Thanks, Robert. We'll see you maybe in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.